Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome. My name is Adelina and I make videos about living in my tiny house on wheels and living a more intentional life. Today is part 2 of my discussion with Jen McCarthy from Teacup Tiny Homes, who is my builder. In the second half of this video, Jen talks about the YouTube Vortex that a lot of people get stuck in when they start going down the rabbit hole of thinking about building a tiny house and researching tiny houses. She also discusses why it's important to work with a professional, and so I think that that's a really important discussion. Dude, Sophie's on my notes. Get off. Yikes. And she also talks about how to know if you're ready, if you're at the point of your tiny house journey where you are actually ready to start your build. I asked her the number one question or concern that most people have. I was really curious to get her response to my final question, which was, what does she see as the future for tiny houses? And that was a really interesting response. I always find talking to Jen inspiring because she has such enthusiasm for what she does and for tiny houses in general. Enjoy this, and don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Thumbs down.
Well, I think one of the things that I love about what you're doing, and I am so grateful for you. I always say that. Who's my ideal client? You're looking at her.
I did try to be a good client for you. I didn't want to drive you nuts.
You just be yourself, and that's what I love, that the education that comes with it. Like there are a lot of, I call it the YouTube Vortex, because you can get sucked into it so easily. And one thing that's really important for people to look at with YouTube videos is how old are the videos. And if it's someone in the US who's doing it, if it's a DIYer who's making the video versus having a professional builder that's up to date, or someone that's gone through that process and is staying up to date in those processes. Yeah. I have different processes than other builders, and what we do here can be a bit different than what they do stateside. I find it very interesting too on the global tiny house conference that they have every few months. Often, well, twice I've presented on there, and it's just so interesting what I focus and talk about versus what some of the other builders focus and talk about too. And that's really cool. And that's why it's important to do your due diligence and really talk to different builders and see who you resonate with. See who, like, if you feel it in your heart, see who you get that feeling from. Because I mean, we met in March. You got your home. Was it a year and a half that we knew each other? Possession 2 years. Maybe?
Yeah. We met in March. I didn't put my deposit down until December.
Yep.
And then so it was a while.
Yeah.
And I had met several builders before, as well. And I totally agree. You have to have a connection with the builder you're choosing, because this is I've never built anything before.
Yeah.
So for me, this was, and obviously when people are going tiny, it's a big deal. It may be a small house, but it's a big deal. And you really want it to be a good experience. So you have to interview the builders. You have to know if this is somebody that you connect with and who can see your vision. And that was very important to me. The certification was obviously important, but having a builder who's, and I've said this so many times, who is as excited about my build as I was critical for me, because this is it. This is my dream. And I think that's really important, making that connection. It can't just be a transaction.
Correct.
At the tiny house. I think they're just somehow very different. So
although it's a tiny home, this is way different than building any other kind of home. That's the thing, is that, you'd be great at building a tiny home, they said. It'll be easy, they said. Like, I just happen to have the persistence and the determination that I'm like, oh, I'm in this far. I got to keep going and figure it out. And the more we do and the more we learn from people, like our clients are our biggest learning tool, really. We interview them afterwards. We continue in the conversations and relationships. Most of them, I mean, some we don't hear from again, even with reaching out, and that's okay. They know where to find us.
Yeah.
But we do that, and it's after being in home construction. We were, I guess, for example, we were the largest. I was a part of the largest home builder in Lethbridge. We were building homes in 3 different cities. I was there for 13 years. I dealt with everything from our Stars Lottery dream homes here to our entry-level 900 square foot home. But the process is the same for everyone, like the emotions. And that's what's different with the transaction versus the emotion. We've built a system that really caters to and helps with the emotional side of it. And I think that's something that is different between it being a transaction versus it being a journey. And we always talk about our client journey and what's best for a client. And really, we know if a client comes back to us and says, I don't know, I just don't know, I don't know. I mean, we had this too, like, I don't feel like I can move forward right now. And we talk through that emotional side of it because that's what it is. And going back to what I was talking about earlier about the psychological side and that passion that I have for learning how the human brain works and how our emotions work and how we have limiting beliefs and terror barriers and all these things, that if we have someone to help us through those emotional sides, we can do anything. And that's what's so cool.
Yeah.
So I think with having that focus, that's what makes it so much different than a transaction. But you're doing something hugely different anyway. So it needs to be different. It needs to have all those things.
Absolutely. It does. And that's, I think, the most exciting part about building a tiny house is that you're doing something totally different. And, you know, I think I described to you at one point that it feels like I'm stepping off the edge of a cliff without a parachute. And you know, you're like, you'll find your wings on the way down. It just, I knew what I wanted. And I was probably more prepared than a lot of people when they start their build. But even so, it was still scary because of the unknowns, which brings me to my next question, which is, what is the number one question that clients ask you? Like when they come to you and talk about building a tiny house, what's the one thing they really want to know?
Well, I'm not on the front end anymore. So, and it changes because what happens is we look at the questions we're continually getting asked, and then we'll do a YouTube video or we'll add it into our training portal or something like that. So we actually have a client portal that our clients log in where we teach them about their tiny home. So our goal, hopefully, is so that when they get their tiny home, they understand how to use it. That was a big disconnect, was we build these homes, we would think like, you don't know kind of what to do with something until you get it. And then some of our clients were just, it was a big struggle for them once they got their tiny home on what to do, how to set it up and how to use it. So we've incorporated some of that into our portal. The number one question, like I said, I'm not on the front end. Usually it's like just the ones that come through our emails that we see. They're not necessarily our clients, but just from the general public is how much, of course. And our answer to that is we can't tell you how much. Like truly. And that's where another thing, like knowing if someone's our client or not, is if they understand that first answer of, I can't tell you how much it will be because I know nothing about you. I can't. I don't know what kind of toilet you need yet. So I can't tell you that. I can't tell
size or anything.
Exactly. And that's huge. So what price? Our average cost, I think right now, as to what we're building, our average price is about is between the 140 to 160,000 Canadian.
Yeah, which is where mine was.
Yep, exactly. And our entry level right now, our smallest home we build, which is the Tagish, that is probably would average out like this. These aren't our starting prices, but this is where once we get our clients' needs, wants, goals incorporated into it, that one would probably be I would say minimum 105, 110,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of questions about parking?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we do, but again, a lot of the time, the clients that when we go further, I find I get a lot more of those on our social media platforms, because
Yeah.
by the time they're reaching out to us to book that discovery call, they've already done their research. So, and because of people like you and because of a lot of other influencers and people that have gone through the process, I think that yes, we still get the question, but there's a lot of great stuff out there
Yeah,
to
there's more and more.
provide
And
answers.
that's really nice. So now that you've been at this a little while, and I know you're really involved in the whole movement, where do you see it going? Do you think that this is ever going to be mainstream?
I think smaller homes will be mainstream. I believe that I don't know if they'll stay on wheels per se. I think that that we have a series called the Foundation series, and that's basically it. Actually, very exciting. Our client, we have a tiny home in the city, in the municipality of Fort McMurray, and he has got his occupancy permit, I think, yesterday. So it's basically like signed, sealed, delivered, and that was a process altogether. I think it's been like almost 2.5 years now or something crazy since we started working with him. But that goes to his determination, persistence. Again, two things: determination and persistence. You have that as well, where it's like, okay, let's figure it out, and that's really what our clients need to have too. I see them going more to being on foundations. One of the reasons why tiny homes started to go on wheels was to get around building codes. And, I think that there's a lot of municipalities. I mean, Hamilton, I have city councilors emailing me from all over Canada and the US. I have talked to municipalities, Fort McMurray, of course, Hamilton, BC, like just everywhere, because they want to know more about what's going on. Lethbridge, of course, too. So yeah, I see it going to less on wheels, but yeah, I think it's a great solution. I really do. And even now, like, people are just like, ugh, people are just frustrated and
Absolutely.
tired, and they just want something better.
There's a whole generation that, that just does not want to own a big house.
Yeah.
They just don't. They value experiences, life experiences much more than stuff.
Yeah.
And it's true. I know you're really busy, so I don't want to keep you too long, but I just enjoy talking to you so much, because, you're one of my favorite people. So
I know, I love doing this too. And we needed to catch up also.
Yeah, I know. Next time we'll do it with a glass of wine.
Okay.
So if, I have people, like I say, contact me all the time that are excited about building, they're getting ready to build, and they're doing the research, which I think is awesome. How are they going to get in touch with you if they decide that you are definitely the person they want to talk to?
Yeah. Our website is amazing, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I might be a little biased, but I mean, I think it's amazing. We get compliments about it all the time. So our website, on the website, there's a contact us page, and from there they can send us an email, and that's probably the best way. So that goes directly. Actually, I see every single one of those communications that come in. But we do have Shireen, our front end team. She will basically encourage you to book a discovery call, because like I said, until we have that conversation about what your needs, wants, goals are, we don't know what we'll be able to do for you. So that's teacuptinyhomes.com, and our Instagram is definitely has a lot of information there, and our YouTube channel too. So
yeah, I love that. It's great that you have the YouTube channel and that client portal, which is amazing. So thank you so much. I know that you're busy, but it's just so great to actually see you face to face. And I'm so glad that the viewers get to meet you, because I do talk about my experience all the time. I will definitely talk to you, and the next time we'll have some wine.
Okay, done. It's a date.
Check out the second channel, which is now live. There's only 2 videos up there yet, but I am going to be moving some more videos over there. And that channel is called A Little Bit About a Lot of Things. I will also link that down below, because that's where I just talk about all the other stuff that I really am excited about, but that doesn't necessarily fit on this channel, and lots of cooking stuff, which is definitely something that I enjoy. So anyways, I will see you next week.